The state's far-reaching net zero by 2050 mandate has claimed its latest victims under the newly implemented large building energy reporting requirements. LBER was quietly tucked into the infamous net zero by 2050 roadmap law signed in 2022. Like many parts of that bill, its impact is only now becoming clear, and the squeeze on employers is tightening as its implementation becomes reality. The new LBER rules require building owners with more than 20,000 square feet of space to report their energy usage beyond what utilities already track. In the spring of this year, some property owners were mailed an undated letter from Governor Healey's Commissioner of the Department of Energy Resources, Elizabeth Mahoney. The commissioner's letter instructed these property owners that they needed to begin to register their property with the state. The mandate requires electric, gas, and steam utilities to report data on behalf of covered buildings to the Massachusetts Department of Energy Resources. It requires the owners or agents of covered buildings to report usage of additional resources such as oil, propane, wood, and on-site renewable energy generation. Aside from further burdening businesses with more paperwork and regulatory requirements, the question must be raised. If a business is considering moving to Massachusetts, for whom energy costs and usage are an important consideration, why move to Massachusetts when the state is signaling that big government is watching? Does our governor understand that manufacturers and companies in the AI field are keenly aware of energy costs, and this requirement sends a very negative signal about potential rationing? All this tracking is not for curiosity's sake. It's to build the foundation for future, expensive, and restrictive emission reduction mandates. In other words, the state is making these property owners, many of whom are also small businesses, braid the rope they'll be hung with. Large property owners already care about energy efficiency because energy costs directly affect their bottom line. They have a natural desire to keep these costs down and don't need the governor to remind them that higher usage means higher bills. But this new reporting regime isn't about helping businesses. It's about arming regulators with the data they'll use to impose the next round of costly mandates, and that has businesses rightfully worried. And who can blame them? The message to any company thinking about expanding or relocating to Massachusetts couldn't be clearer. Get ready, you're next. The smart choice for those potential businesses is clearly to take their jobs and investments and go elsewhere. This mandated disclosure, as it is referred to on the mass.gov website, is said to offer transparency for building stakeholders. That's rich coming from a legislature that refuses to subject itself to a basic audit. As guilty as the legislature is for passing this mess of a law, Governor Healey still has an opportunity to right the ship. She's taken significant flack from angry ratepayers in recent months and has even begun softening her rhetoric on energy sources like nuclear. But she still hasn't shown support for the one policy that would go furthest towards reassuring business and keeping energy affordability for residents. The net zero by 2050 mandate should be repealed and replaced with a goal. If Massachusetts ever wants to be affordable and competitive again, that's where reform must start. Until the mandate is changed into a goal, it will continue to set into motion a series of painful and expensive measures designed to change behavior in energy usage. The state is going to do this not by offering a carrot, as they did with their near-endless subsidies for solar, heat pumps, electric vehicles, etc., but rather with the stick. Just as LBER is now beginning to affect large building owners, smart meters will be used to keep a grasp on residential energy usage and in turn implement restrictive policies. The end result will be a type of carbon tax or energy rationing, or both. The only way to stop this cult-like madness is to stop the net zero by 2050 mandate. Goals are aspirational. Mandates come at a cost, and that cost is being borne by ratepayers. The net zero by 2050 mandate is twisting the wrist that's turning the screw. The governor needs to reverse course on this destructive reporting requirement. That letter should be followed with a retraction. Ultimately, Governor Healey needs to adopt a sensible energy approach, and it must be to reverse the net zero by 2050 mandate, or voters need to elect someone that will.